All right, good morning and welcome to the SACAC Alabama State Meeting. My name is Jake Gibson and I am the Alabama State Chair for the state of Alabama, obviously, for SACAC. Just wanted to do some quick introduction, just to kind of give you a little bit of background. The previous state chair for SACAC for SAI purposes was Katie Morgan of Auburn University. She, at the end of last year, asked if I would take this on, and last year I provided the Alacro updates for you all. So I've got a foot in both camps in here. And so I'm very excited to be a little bit more involved in the SACAC world. But I did want to give you a little background on myself real quick before we dive too much into it. My name, again, is Jake Gibson. I currently serve as Director of Enrollment Strategy at Wallace State Community College here in Huntsville, Alabama. So about an hour-ish north of Birmingham, about 10 minutes south of Coleman, right off 65, if you're familiar with the area. Um, I've been at Wallace State for all of, let's see, since May, however many months that is, 5 months now or so. But prior to here, I was at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, where I served as Associate Director for Transfer Student Recruitment for 3 years. And then before that, I was at the University of Alabama doing Transfer Student Recruitment for about 5 years. And then before that, I was at Tennessee Tech University, my undergraduate alma mater, where I was an admissions counselor for 3 years. But originally from the state of Alabama, so I'm back home and back in my area here. This is my 11th year of higher education. I guess I'm a lifer, I guess at this point, once you hit the 3 or 4 year mark, right, you're a lifer. But in addition to SACAC, I currently serve as the immediate past president of Alacro as well. So I served as president last year. I've now moved, but I'm in this immediate past president role here. So again, a lot of good things going on, but I did want to kind of just talk through that quick introduction. And basically what we're going to do today is go through, obviously I just did introduction. We're going to do some Alacro updates. And then we've got some SACAC committee updates we're going to cover, as well as some time for a breakout discussion, and then finally a wrap up as well. So the first thing, we'll go ahead and dive into it. I am going to introduce you all to our next presenter, who is Casey Slaughter. She currently serves as president of Alacro. Her daytime job is director of recruitment at the University of Montevallo. So at this point in time, I'll go ahead and pass it off to her to provide us with any Alacro updates.
Thank you, Jake. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you all today and provide some updates. As Jake mentioned, I'm the Director of Recruitment at the University of Montevallo. I've also worked at UAB in the past and Clayton State University in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm in my second year back at Montevallo, my 12th year in higher education. With Alacro in the past, I've been the Vice President of Professional Development, Access, and Equity. And then I was also our local arrangements chair and planned our last Birmingham conference. And so I think most of you know how Jake kind of came into his role last year as president. And then I just kind of jumped in as president-elect, and it's just kind of been a whirlwind ever since. But one of the things that we wanted to do this year was bring back a couple of events that we had before COVID and then had not had since. And so we, right after our June conference in Mobile, kind of jumped right into things, and we hosted our first ever travel season kickoff event. This was a virtual event that was geared more so towards entry-level staff, higher ed professionals that were in their first 1 to 3 years in the field. And we offered a couple of professional development sessions for them, like what to expect on the road, how to stay healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, and prevent burnout and things like that. And then we also provided some updates and opened it up to everyone as well. We had 60 attendees, which I was really excited about. We had some really good engagement, even though it was a virtual event. And we had a lot of new people new to Alacro join that event. So we were really excited about that. That was on August 13th. Then no, it was not November. It was September 9th. We brought back our high school counselor event. This was one of the ones that we had not done since before COVID. And so in the past, we had offered professional development events for high school counselors. And so we wanted to bring that back. We had it at the Lawson State campus in Birmingham. We had around 25 counselors attend that event. And I'm so lucky to have Jake as immediate past president and an amazing president elect, and really just an executive committee in general, because I was out of the country for that event. And so it went really well, and we were super excited to bring that back. Something that's really important to me too is providing professional development for all higher education professionals. And so there are a couple of other new things that we're doing this year. One is a mentorship program. So we sent out a form to all ALACRO members and asked if they wanted to be a mentor to someone, or if you were new to the field and wanted to be a mentee. And so we are developing that program now, and we're going to do a kickoff in early spring. And hopefully that will be something that is sustainable over the next few years. And then we're also going to be offering a book club starting in November. And we're going to do Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. And so with that too, I know some of us don't have opportunities to network or to read professional development books or attend sessions or conferences. And so this is an easy way for us to kind of offer that professional development to all members of ALACRO. Some upcoming events. We have our district coordinator meeting on November 7th. And so at that meeting, we'll have all of our district coordinators. We're actually hosting it at Montevallo this time. And we're going to talk about what has gone well this travel season, what needs improvement, go ahead and start planning for the spring semester. But we have gotten really good feedback for the high school fairs this year. And now we are making that transition into the transfer fairs. And then we also participated in Free Application Week, as y'all all know, October 7th through the 11th. We had really good participation with that. And then for our Summer 25 conference, it is going to be hosted June 10th through the 12th, 2025. And that's going to be at the Embassy Suites in Hoover. We did a site visit on September 30th, and we're planning another one for January. And we're already working on events and food and scheduling. So I feel really good with where we are for planning that event. We are still also sending out monthly newsletters through ALACRO with updates and really pushing involvement from a diverse network in the state. So we have the four-year schools that have always been super involved. And then a few years ago, we really started pushing for community college participation. This year, too, I really want to focus on registrar involvement. We have one registrar who is our VP of records for ALACRO, and then one registrar who is our VP of professional development. And so they're working on getting a list of all registrars in the state of Alabama. That's something that we haven't had before. So we can really encourage their participation in the conference and host events specific for them as well. And that is all I have, unless anyone has any questions for me. Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
There was a question in the chat. Could you put the book title in there again?
Yes. It's Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I do appreciate those updates from the ALACRO world. just to kind of provide some context, it is important, even though we are two different organizations between the two. Alacro really dives into the world of admissions recruitment from the college level and the registrar world. That's where the R comes in Alacro. And whereas SACAC is more college professionals, admissions professionals, recruitment professionals, and high school guidance counselors, career coaches. So there's a little bit of overlap there. So there's some very familiar faces, but we do think it's important to make sure that we keep up to date with what's going on in our own state. And so that's why we ask Alacro to come and present and be part of this. And not that we're taking over or anything, right, Casey, in between doing all these updates and being in both organizations. But we do appreciate the opportunity to work together there. And if you're having a college fair or hear about a countywide fair in your area, it's Al Acro who's typically trying to organize that and get all that calendar straightened out. So it's definitely a fun time being on that calendar committee for sure. So again, thank you, Casey. We appreciate your time. You're welcome to hang around if you want to, but if not, you're good to go. So thank you. All right. So next, what we're going to do is just describe, who is Alacro? What do we do? For those of you who may be new to this, or maybe some existing folks, but basically, SACAC is the Southern Association for College Admission Counseling. We are essentially the Southern affiliate of the national version, which is NACAC, the National Association for College Admission Counseling. SACAC, I'm just going to kind of read from the slide here, supports and engages its collaborative network of enrollment and counseling professionals by promoting ethical responsibility, professional growth, access, advocacy, and outreach to help all students realize their post-secondary education goals. Basically, this is a really great way for professionals on both sides of the desk, so to speak, to collaborate and assist students in their pursuits of college. So we've got chapters, basically because we're the southern region, it's not necessarily state by state at the organization level, but obviously we're meeting as a state now. But the organization as a whole includes 9 states, including the Caribbean. So you can see all the states listed there below, Alabama being obviously one of those. So just wanted to kind of give you an idea as to what SACAC is, if this is your first meeting, this first go around. Next, we're going to provide some SACAC updates relative to the state of Alabama. So there's various committees we'll talk about here in a little bit, but I've got some updates that are specific to the state of Alabama. And first up is our government relations update. And Andrew, if you are ready to rock and roll, I will go ahead and pass the floor over to you.
Yeah, so hey everybody, I'm Andrew Colson. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admission at UAB, and I've also been our Government Relations Co-Chair in the state of Alabama for, gosh, like 5 years now. So longer than is typical, but hey, when you love something that's not as lovable as government, you kind of want to stick around for a little bit. As far as our updates go, in case you guys don't know, government relations, our role, both on the state level as well as more the SACAC wide level, is working on getting our members aware of legislation, both on a macrocosmic and state level, that affects our industry and our students, and also helps provide kind of insight on how our members can be more active in the legislative process. For the state of Alabama, the past couple of years, our main event and kind of our main push has been the legislative day. I've been joined with Bailey Drummond for the past, this is year 3 now for her. I don't think she's able to join us today, but she's with our School of Engineering. But we also have Samantha Credemeyer from Houston Academy, who's recently joined us as well too. And so, yeah, so she is kind of one of our main people helping us out as well too, just recently within the last couple weeks here. So our goal this year is to try to switch things up. In the past, we've done a legislative day where we've actually had a day on the Hill in Montgomery. We've had speakers from NACAC talk to us about national policy. We've had speakers from state level government, Representative Terry Collins, who's head of the Educational Policy Committee within the House Congress, has been a constant speaker for us at these events as well too. Last year we decided to switch it up a little bit since she was starting to say the same things over and over again every single year, and so we had an NGO showcase is basically what we call it, a nonprofit showcase with Alabama Possible, especially given their focus on financial aid and affordability for college, and with the FAFSA changes that were so imminent last year, and we all know how fun that was. So our legislative day this year is going to be a little bit different. I did mention that we've done in person the past couple of years, but we're going to be switching over to a digital platform this year. It just seems like most people usually we do these on Tuesdays, just kind of keep consistent with like the voting day, everything like that. And so we're going to be doing a digital legislative day on March 11th of 2025. So really excited about that. These are typically about 2 hours long. We'll have pretty much kind of the same setup, speakers from national level, SACAC level, ourselves as well too. And we'll also have more information available on the website as we get dates and times hammered out. Times are kind of relative to how many speakers we're able to finally secure, but typically that is from about 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time. So if you're able to join us, I really do recommend you join us. It's always kind of interesting because it's usually at the very start of the legislative session. So a lot of things that especially affect um, our members are really pertinent. And so if you're not one to kind of typically try to keep up with every little bit of legislation that comes through, we try to kind of go over the big highlights that affect our members for all levels, secondary level, higher education level, just so that way we're making sure we're hitting all of our membership with the information dump essentially. And then also how to get involved in case there's any action that needs to be taken as well too. If you are interested as well too, I'll put my contact information in the chat. If you're interested in helping out or learning more or anything like that, I'd be glad to kind of entertain that as well too. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, my main thing that I was going to promote today too, we are 1 week away from a national election. So if you don't already know your down ballot races on your ballot, or you don't know where you're registered to vote, I would definitely recommend looking that up on the Department of uh, uh, State website. And be sure that you also go out and vote between 7 and 7 next Tuesday. So that's pretty much all I got. Thanks, Jake.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Um, I will say that I have attended a legislative day in the past. I don't remember, Andrew, was it last year or year before
I think it
last?
was
They all
2 years
start,
ago. Yeah.
yeah, they all start merging together here.
Yeah.
But that was fun. That was interesting. I
Yeah.
had the great opportunity to listen. I can't remember who our speaker was, but to hear any of our legislative speakers, and then also hear them talk about education and sometimes what they're passionate about as well, and gives us an opportunity to kind of speak to what is going on in our world because they're so far sometimes disconnected from what's going on. But at the same time, this gives us that opportunity to reach out to them and let them know how we're thinking, how we're feeling about certain
Yeah.
things. So,
And I'll
and
say
as an organization, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just say too, government relations was kind of my first foray into any kind of SACAC involvement, and so I've been part of a couple of subcommittees since then, and it's been a great kind of launching point for to a whole bunch of other aspects of SACAC too. So if you're interested in that,
Yeah, definitely. I remember too, we went to it was opening day for the session, remember? And it was so exciting. There was so much hype. And then
yeah, that's why we also don't do these on opening day because all they do opening day is attendance. So the legislative session is not nearly as fun to attend that first day since they don't really talk about anything.
yeah, I just being the nerd I am in American history and government, like I thought that was so funny. But anyway, well, cool. Well, thank you again, Andrew. I would definitely appreciate the updates on the government relations. So next up, we're going to talk very briefly about let's see, our drive-in workshop that's coming up. And we've got two co-coordinators for our drive-in workshop, Ms. Aisha Ward and Ms. Emily Griffith. And if either of them want to provide any updates there, you're welcome to have the floor at this point.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you're good.
Okay, perfect. I apologize for my appearance. I have a dermatologist appointment later today, so I have to be very bare. So apologies for that. Um, Our Alabama Drive-In Workshop is set for Tuesday, January 28th. For those of you who don't know about the drive-in workshops, this is just kind of a one-day professional development seminar for high school college counselors and college advisors. I'm very excited to be involved in this because prior to joining the higher ed world, I actually came from the secondary world, which is where my lovely co-chair Aisha is currently working. We're going through proposal submissions at this time, and I don't really have anything else specific to add. Aisha, do you have anything else other than we're excited to get going? She was on here earlier, but she may have hopped off.
Nope, I think we're good then, Emily.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to dive into some of the additional committee meetings that we have. Or committee updates we have. There are 12 different committees within SACAC. Each are really great opportunities to get involved. As you heard from Andrew earlier, his kind of transition into being involved with SACAC was through the work of a committee. But there are a couple of committees that are physically present today that are going to provide some updates from their areas, but this is as the organization as a whole. So this isn't necessarily specific to Alabama like the last two updates were. But first, we've got, let's see, it is the Finance Committee, and Iris Martinez is going to be presenting some updates there on behalf of the Finance Committee. So I'm going to pass it off to her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jake. Hello, everyone. My name is Iris Martinez. I am half of the Finance Committee. I'm one of the co-chairs along with my colleague, Justine. We oversee our Counselor Participation Fund, or also known as CPF, which provides financial assistance to attend all of our SACAC events, such as the annual conference, summer seminar, dry run, sweet tea, etc. We give preference to obviously to counselors working with public schools and CBOs. This is our second year with 2 rounds of applications. So round 1 is currently open, and if you're interested in looking for funding for our SACAC conference, this is your deadline. This is your application, which closes December 3rd. Round 2 will open mid-February, and that's typically for summer seminars, sweet tea, and dry run. So all our summer programs. And pardon me, I'm currently on maternity leave, and I have baby girl with me, so you hear her on the background. So apologies about that. She's trying to make her little entrance here. The second grant that we oversee is our extending the dream grant, which enables members to establish and pay for special projects in their communities. That benefits students. We will have an information session, like a webinar, later in mid-February. The application for this will open also in February, and it will close in mid-March. I will link on the chat for those that don't have a current phone to go ahead and scan the QR code, but I will go ahead and link in the chat each page that has like more detailed information along with their respective timelines. But yeah, thank you so much, Jake, for inviting us and letting us giving us this opportunity to share with our members these great opportunities that provide funding for you all to get engaged with SACAC and provide access to our students and counselors as well. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Iris. We appreciate your time. All right, up next, we've got our Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee. We originally had a presenter, but she just let me know that she wasn't able to make it, so I'll go ahead and provide some of those updates for us there. But relative to students, parents, and school counselors, there are a couple of different opportunities. There are college admission workshops. In most cases, these are virtual, but there are some in-person opportunities. But there are basically free, interactive, and informative college planning workshops designed for high school students from underrepresented and underserved populations. All of that information relative to the program and when those dates are available can be found on our website, and you can scan that code and we can link it later as well. We try to do some of these in person as well, but we cover the same stuff essentially there. However, we don't necessarily have a site, don't at the moment have a site coordinator for the state of Alabama. So, so if you have any questions or want to know how to get involved with that, or if you'd like to help participate in that, we definitely encourage you to reach out to the Access Committee there at access@sacac.org. And then also too, we have a conference outreach project each year prior to our conference time. More information is going to be coming out about that a little bit later as we get closer to the time of the conference. And that will be happening. The conference itself will be happening in Atlanta this spring. So right now they're in the process of looking at that and planning that, but basically they typically are going to be helping support a local community in some way. So as an organization, we try to do that conference outreach project each year. But again, stay tuned with a little bit more info there. Relative to updates with our governance and nominating committee, again, it's going to be me giving the updates here. Our applications and nominations for president-elect position, as well as the board of directors and SACAC awards, will all be coming out soon. The deadline to submit applications and nominations will be due in mid-January. So we've got a little bit of time there, but those are the handful of updates that we want to provide relative to the governance and nominating committee. Relative to advancement, again, this is me. With advancement, they're in the process of securing spots for the next SACAC annual conference, which I mentioned earlier is going to be happening in Atlanta, Georgia. That is March 30th through the 31st, with some pre-conference sessions going on the Saturday before on the 29th of March. This year's SACAC theme for the annual conference is Embrace the Moment, Inspire, Inform, and Impact. And we would not be able to provide the quality programming that we're known for without the support of our partners. And so if you are an organization, or if you know of an organization that is wanting to sponsor and be part of the conference festivities, they did send me a chart as well. So you can look at all the different sponsorship levels as well. So you see they start out at about $1,500 and then go all the way up to $15,000. So the more money you get, or the more money you provide as a sponsor, the more opportunities to be seen that you have throughout the entire conference there. But again, if you are an organization, part of an organization that you think would be good fit for sponsoring the conference, I definitely encourage you to look into that or reach out to the advancement committee there. Some updates from the professional development committee. A lot of bullet points here, but these are all exciting bullet points for sure. Professional Development Committee, they wanted to announce that they've got dry run coming up in 2025. It's going to be taking place at Rollins College, which is in Winter Park, Florida. So if you have some newer admissions professionals on the college side, if you're looking to train a new admissions counselor, typically that summer, right before they start that fall travel season, dry run is a really great opportunity for them. That's going to be taking place again down there in Winter Park at Rollins College. And then Summer Seminar 2025 is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, taking place on the campus of Vanderbilt University as well as Belmont University. So again, it's going to be in Nashville for our Summer Seminar. Our Sweet Tea Tour is going to be taking place in South Florida. No specific updates just yet on the locations, but we do know it's going to be in that region of the country. So last year it was in South Carolina. We got to see a lot of cool colleges within that area, but this next year is going to be down in South Florida. Our webinars committee has a fall webinar series. This semester's topics included National Transfer Student Week, which was last week. And then we have the from application to acceptance, assisting students with navigating college admissions decisions. And then finally, college affordability for families and students there. And then finally, from the Professional Development Committee is the SACAC Leads Program. Applications for faculty participants and the new Leads co-chairs will be opening up pretty soon. But that is definitely a great opportunity for new up-and-coming admissions professionals to be involved in basically sharpening the tools that they have at their disposal for becoming a good supervisor and leader. And then next, we've got the National College Fairs Committee. The National College Fairs Committee wanted to provide the updates that we do have 3 upcoming fairs in, I don't want to say our area. We did have one in Birmingham in September of this year. But the next upcoming ones we have in our area is Atlanta on Sunday, January the 26th. And that is over at the Georgia International Convention Center. Miami is a little bit of a further drive for us, but that one's happening March 9th. And then Charlotte, North Carolina is March the 22nd. So relative to our geographic footprint of SACAC, these are the 3 areas that we, or the 3 cities that we plan on having those national college fairs there. Couple other SACAC updates we've got, specific, not necessarily specific to a certain committee, but we do want you to know that you do have the opportunity to get involved, and some of these have already been mentioned at this point, but SACAC does have a mentorship opportunity and a program as a whole where you can sign up to be a professional mentor who offers support and partnership throughout the year to someone who may be new to the world of SACAC. And so if you are looking for a mentor or you want to mentor, I definitely encourage you to go through that process of looking at our mentorship program. And then I mentioned SACAC Leads a second ago, basically an application-based program designed to develop informed, committed, and qualified leaders for the organization and the broader profession. So again, if you have a young professional that's looking to get a little bit more involved in SACAC, wants to sharpen those tools as far as their leadership abilities, I definitely encourage SACAC Leads as a great opportunity for those folks. For training of new or nearly new professionals, we've got the summer seminar, which I mentioned, and then dry run as well. Summer seminar is a 4-day workshop hosted on a college campus in June for new or nearly new college professionals working at high schools. So the opposite of that is for admissions folks in dry run. So dry run folks are going to do a 4-day workshop at that location as well. And again, I mentioned that's going to be down there in Winter Park. And then that summer seminar, again, is going to be in Nashville at Vanderbilt and Belmont universities. And you also heard brief mention of the Sweet Tea Tour as well. That is essentially a 5-day tour that is usually hosted in June. The location rotates throughout the SACAC region. Again, last year was South Carolina. This upcoming year is going to be down in South Florida. Again, more details to be coming a little bit later on. And then finally, we mentioned the annual conference, I guess about 3 or 4 times now at this point, but essentially that's a 3-day event that has all these different opportunities for us to come together and exchange ideas and look at current trends and issues facing our area, as well as just increasing the understanding of ethical standards and networking with professionals in the field. The registration for that is yet to open, but it plans to open in mid-December-ish. You will definitely be emailed when that opens up. But essentially, those dates are March 30th through April 1st of 2025, with, again, those pre-conference opportunities happening on the 29th, that day before. But it's going to be over in Atlanta, Georgia. And that is going to be at the Marriott Marquis over in Atlanta. And again, this is the official SACAC logo for the conference with, again, our theme being Embrace the Moment, Inspire, Inform, and Impact. So I know that was a ton of things thrown at you real quick. And again, this is going to be this is being recorded as well. So you'll have access to this later on if need be. But next, what we wanted to do is do some breakout discussions before we wrap up. I'm going to give us about 10 minutes or so to kind of go through some of these breakout discussions. But we've got a couple of topics for us to kind of go over. And the first topic is just success. What has gone well for you in your role this year? Biggest successes, different challenges, what's not gone so well for you in your role this year, just the biggest challenges you've come across. and then also support. What do you think that our professional organization could be doing to best serve you, essentially? So at this point in time, what we'll do is I'll go ahead and just do the random breakout rooms and allow you all that opportunity to have those types of discussions. Again, I'll put a 10-minute timer on it and we will go from there. And I'll put all these topics in the chat so you'll be able to see them when you get over to the breakout rooms as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do the breakout room, and then I'll pause the recording after I do that. Let's see how many of us. There's 10 of us. So let's do 3 breakout rooms, and let's go ahead and get that going. Open all rooms. All right, there you go. All right, so the last couple things I've got for you real quick, relative to SACAC membership. Just make sure that if you are interested in joining, if you're not already a member of SACAC, we encourage you to do so. The annual fee is $45 per person. It's not by organization, it's not by school, it's by person, and there is free access membership to no cost. It's a no cost to public high schools and community-based organizations and access counselors. So that membership typically runs from September 1st through August 31st each year, and you can find more information, of course, on our website. And you can scan that QR code, it'll get you right to it. So I know it was, again, a lot of stuff, and I appreciate the time spent in speaking with us today. If you have any additional questions about SACAC, make sure you reach out to me. There's my email address. Also, you can follow us on social media at Facebook and Instagram. And of course, we have a website, phone number, email, all that good jazz too. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to us. But thank you again for attending today. I'm going to go ahead and pause it or stop the recording.